Rob, the dust has settled on Saturday now, the smile's there, but we've got to move on quickly here. London Irish here on Wednesday night, big game in itself.
Yeah, that's right. It's the best thing about sport in a way, isn't it? Is that you move on quickly, and you've got to be someone who wants to move on as a team and as individuals to move on. Otherwise, yesterday's exploits get left behind quite quickly because the failures are ahead, aren't they? So for us, very important we move on to London Irish. They're two, and Wasps, they're two very important games. Bigger picture. So with there's immediate repercussions of us not going well in them, and bigger picture there's some repercussions as well. Obviously immediately we want to see who's fit, fresh, ready to play and contribute to what will become semi-finals and finals, because they are there now. And also, if you look bigger picture, there's a number of people who will be featuring in the next couple of weeks who, there is a reality, will probably start in the starting 15 at the start of next season, which again is only a few weeks away, because the initial fixtures clash with international games. And so the start of 15 that plays our first Premiership game will get drawn out of an extended squad group. So there's a lot to play for, both individually and immediately now if you want to stand up and get selected, because everyone's seen injuries and unavailabilities can happen in the blink of an eye. With the COVID situation, the fact that we're testing every week, it only needs a player to turn up with a positive test and all of a sudden you're out of a big game and someone needs to step in. So the importance of having guys up and ready to play but playing well is huge, and these games are going to play a huge important part of that.
That's been the strength of the side since restart, though. The whole squad has played their part. They've all stepped up when you wanted to, and that's the message obviously you're portraying to them now.
100%. I mean, I think it would be very easy to go, we can go out and enjoy Wednesday night against London Irish at home. We've achieved a big thing as a squad. We've got to home Premiership semi-final, we've got to a European final, so we've achieved quite good stuff. Let's go and enjoy ourselves. And actually I want the lads to put themselves under a fair bit more pressure than that, because I want to see individuals working with pressure, because that's where they'll be, that's where they'll improve. Because if the next game you're playing is Premiership semi-final, there's going to be pressure, and so I don't want it to just be a bit of fun. I want them to really put themselves under some pressure to perform well. The result will be what the result is. I talk about that all the time, regardless of the game we're in. It's more about having a performance level that you're happy with individually and collectively, and that's what we're really going to drive this week.
London Irish, we know from earlier in the season, from past experience, that they offer a threat always, don't they?
Yeah, and when you look through the team individually, some very good players in there. Have they really come together as a side kind of post-lockdown? They probably feel a little disappointed with that, but they've had different targets and aims as well. They're probably more thinking about building for the future and finding ways to build best for the future rather than target trying to win 7-8 games. And so we've got to be very careful that we make sure we're very performance-based as well, and that this the group that take the field aim to not only win the game, but also aim to play very well. I'm actually expecting the team to go out there and win. I'm not going to expect them to go out there and fulfill a fixture, and that's very much what I expect the guys to drive all week.
You've had a few days to reflect on Saturday now, though. Does it feel special now?
Oh, well, it feels special because if you watch a group of people that you work with every day achieve that, and that's fantastic. That's what sport's all about. That's the big fulfillment you get as a coach, is watching your coaching group work extremely hard, because we've got an exceptionally hard working group of coaches here who put together a really good game plan, and have had these guys working really well in a number of performance areas and system areas for a number of weeks now, and then you see the players commit to it like they did at the weekend. That's what's satisfying about it all. That's what makes it all really worthwhile. And so that's what you often feel. It's very rare you feel either completely pleased for yourself, but you look, and what is really fulfilling is watching guys achieve to a level that those lads did at the weekend, and that was a fantastic thing to be part of.
You said you wanted to see the season best from those guys. That's probably the benchmark now that the others, even those on Wednesday night, have to hit now. They've got to hit those kind of levels.
Yeah, well, the big thing now is to have faith in what we do, which I think showed through remarkably well at the weekend, but almost not to have blind faith in it, because there is a reality that it's interesting, because quite a few kind of people have said to me, the game plan, what was the game plan? To let them come at you for a bit and then they get tired out? Well, no, that wasn't in the game plan at all. We didn't let them come at us. They came at us because they were good, and we had to stand and fight. And we stood and fought extremely hard, and yes, we went 6-0 down, but that was all we went down. and that's what the fight was all about. That early period was they're a good side. They're going to come at you, and you've got to stand and fight, and you've got to weather the storm if it goes against you, which we did exceptionally well. And to only concede 2 penalty goals is ultimately what wins you the game, because if those 2 penalties were 2 tries, how do you come back from that? That takes a lot more doing. And so, that's why it's important that we know that it's the fight we show and the work we put in from minute 1 that will give us periods later in the game when things may go our way, or if we make them go our way. It isn't about just sitting there and going, oh, it's okay, they're having their moment, we'll get there eventually, because that won't be the case in a semi-final and a final, because it's huge games to the opposition. They'll keep coming at you if you don't wear them down. And so we've got to get the right balance between, it was the perfect example of a squad of players knowing that sticking with what we do and driving it very hard will be good for us, but also we've got to make sure that it's the understanding you've got to drive it very, very hard is what really matters. And I think that's the message we've got to keep driving with our players these next couple of weeks.
Finally, Rob, you said 4 weeks ago you've got 8 weeks to really go for this. It's going to be a sprint, enjoy it, go after it. You've got 4 weeks left now. Is it still very much the same message?
Well, it's a little bit odd now, because it almost feels like it stops becoming a sprint now, because once you get through this week, which is these last 2 Premiership games, we're actually back into a structured season of 1 game a week, which actually, funnily enough, we were talking about as coaches last week, when we had a whole week to prepare, it felt a bit odd. It felt like a long time till the next game was coming, and it did feel a little bit strange. It felt like we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the Toulouse game to come. So it will feel a little bit of a change of pace, but it'll be something that will suit us, because we are good at getting organised, we are good at previewing for games and getting game plans in place, and so it'll be an all or nothing type of time when every game could be your last game, so to speak. And that's always an interesting time of the season, because ultimately we can sit here and talk about feeling good about ourselves now, but we haven't won anything. If we lose a semi-final, lose a final, it's all over in 2 weeks. That's it, season gone. And I think that's the thing I really want us to work hard to fight against. Yes, we've got to look forward to it and not be anxious about it, but at the same time we've got to be determined that we're going to make these things count now.